Charlottesville Inside Out is made possible thanks in part to its patrons, committed to supporting the people, places, and quality of life that uniquely define Charlottesville and its surroundings, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
We're not going to bully anyone into eating anything. We do a no thank you bite. That's kind of our policy. You try one bite and say no thank you, cool.
For WHTJ, I'm Terry Allard, and this is Charlottesville Inside Out.
Let's go. Go ahead.
Our guest today learned about falconry at the age of 8, and he's been passionate about this ancient sport and art ever since. Join us today as we visit with falconer Kevin Markey. Come on. Come on.
Falconry is a 4,000-year-old sport that, I guess, boiled down to it is the art of training a wild hawk or falcon or owl to hunt. So in essence, we're not actually training them to hunt. They already know how to do that. Nature has given them those skills. What we're training them to do is to come back to us and to allow us to be part of their game and what they're doing every day. So, and that's the hard part. You know, they're wild animals. They don't necessarily want to be right next to human beings. So that can take 2 weeks or 2 months.
And tell us a little bit about the history of this sport, because it goes very far back.
Right, so 4,000-year-old sport that started, some people think in Mongolia, in northern China. There's another group that probably started about 2,000 years ago in Mesopotamia. There are pictographs that show people holding birds on their fists. Mm-hmm. So the sport travels throughout China. The great Khans, Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan, practiced it, and they would actually go out on trips with 10,000 people, and they would hunt from elephant back. And then it travels with the Silk Route into the Middle East, and then into Europe with the Crusades. And then it stayed very popular in Europe for many, many, many years. It probably came to America with the first ships that came to America. There were probably falconers at Plymouth Rock, but really doesn't show up in American history till around the end of World War I, when the USGIs came back.
Well, and you learned about falconry from a neighbor at the age of 8, and you were so excited. Tell us about your first bird.
So I saw falconry for the first time when I was 8 years old, and that was 51 years ago. And I saw a bird hunting, and a friend of mine and I heard bells, which we thought was sort of odd, and we watched this bird take a squirrel to the ground, actually a flying squirrel. And this gentleman came running out of the woods with a glove on his hand, and he said, "I'll show you anything you want, just don't touch the bird." And he explained falconry to us, which I thought at the point, 8-year-old boy, this was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So I asked my father to chase, the sport down, or help me chase it. So we wrote letters. There was no internet in 1966. And we were never able to find anybody else who was a falconer. But I did see a magazine article on the back of a Boy Scout magazine that said, "Be a falconer and send $37.50 to this address and they'll send you a bird," which of course I did. And with some help from my grandmother, and the bird showed up about 2 weeks later. It said live animal on the box, and we opened it up, and there was a hawk inside the box. And when my father found out and my mom found out, it wasn't a great idea for an 8-year-old.
Right.
So he made a phone call, and we shipped the bird back, and they sent us a check for the $37.50 in refund. But that was the beginning of a journey for me, and a lifelong journey.
Well, and let's talk about this too, because, obviously an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, shouldn't have a bird per se, and be a falconer. But there is so much time and training that goes into becoming a falconer that's required in order to be a falconer. So talk about that.
So now, after 1972 and the Endangered Species Act and a couple of other treaty acts that were put in place by the United States government, you have to do an exam. You have to take a national exam. You have to do a 2-year apprenticeship with another falconer. So all of that takes time. It's obviously going to take 2 years, but during that 2-year period, you're going to spend hours and hours every single day with the bird on your hand or with the bird in the woods. So it just requires a lot of time. Right now I have 3 birds, so it doesn't triple my time necessarily, but it's still an hour to 2 hours every single day that I spend with the birds, either feeding them, taking care of them, cleaning their facilities, getting them ready for the hunt the next day or that weekend. So when my wife and I travel, we take the birds with us.
Yeah, vacation, the birds go too.
Yeah, if we do a weekend, we were just in the eastern shore of Virginia, and we took the birds with us. So I'm sitting on the tailgate of our vehicle feeding these birds, and people are gathering around asking questions. But it is a very time-consuming sport, so it makes it very difficult for young people who don't have a driver's license, who are solely dependent on their parents, to really get involved. And that's the one thing that we try to impress upon people when they say, I want to be a falconer, is, are you ready to change your life? This is not a sport for us anymore. This is a way of life for us.
Right.
This is a lifestyle for Donna and I. And we travel with the birds. Donna is as much a spokesperson for falconry as I am, and she knows as much as I do. So over the years, she actually introduced me to my first falconer.
Well, let's talk about, okay, how does it work? How does it work?
So once the bird is trained and it's really comfortable coming back to your fist to a small piece of meat, you take them out into the woods. So they understand the hunting part of this, that it's built into their DNA. You don't have to necessarily train them. Sometimes you have to do some things to help them along, but for the most part, they get it. So you take the bird into the woods or into an open field. You release them from your hand. So now you no longer have control of what's going to happen. And many times, over my 35 years in the sport, all kinds of crazy things happen. The birds fly away. The birds land on a chicken coop. The birds land on someone's house and they won't come back. Or they fly very actively right alongside you and they hunt. And then we're there mostly to be the bird dog. We're the bird dogs in the operation. So I'm beating the brush, looking for game for them to chase. And once they put together that, hey, a rabbit ran out with that human, and they start to put that together, they stay with you even more.
Right. And Harris hawks hunt in packs.
Yes.
You become part of the pack.
You do. So the tighter the pack stays, the closer the birds stay to you. So that's one of the reasons I love Harris hawks, is because of the pack hunting and the team hunting aspect. They're the only species of raptors in the world that do that. So it's kind of exciting to see a pack of birds hunting, and they're not just hunting, they're hunting collectively. Each one of them has a role. One's high, one's low, one's left, one's right, one's a flusher.
Oh, wow.
And it's really exciting to watch. It's spectacular.
But they're not pets.
No, not at all. Never. They're not pets. They're our hunting partners. It's a partnership for us in the wild. They're doing what they're going to do in nature anyway. We just get a front row seat, and it's amazing.
Well, and when they live on their own in nature, their lifespan is maybe, for a Harris hawk, is about 5 or 6 years, right? But in captivity, they live longer.
Much longer. They get vet care, they get regular meals. If they're injured, they get taken care of. So, it's not unusual to hear a Harris hawk or any hawk or falcon live, 10 to 15 years. There was a gentleman in Maryland whose bird was 35 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
And the gentleman's name was Floyd Presley, and the bird's name was Elvis. And his Harris hawk was 35 years old.
So how many falconers are there in Virginia and in the country?
There's about 70 to 80 in the state that are actively hunting. There's probably another 25, maybe a little bit more, that have licenses, but they don't actively hunt. There's about somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 in the whole country, but it's practiced all over the world. And so a few years ago, we received UNESCO World Heritage status because the sport is 4,000 years old and it's practiced on the entire planet with the exception of probably the Arctic.
Well, and there are some rules. You say there are a couple of golden rules about falconry.
Yeah, so you never steal food from the bird.
That's nice. That's good.
So most of the rabbits go to the birds, or the squirrels go to the birds. So you never want to steal food. We have a contract with these birds that the game that they catch is theirs. Now we do a fairly elaborate sort of scam that we trade those heads of game away from them for tidbits or pieces of meat. So it means covering the game up and trading them off of it, but they never see us stealing the food. If they do, they get a little uppity about that, and then you can have a real problem because then they're not going to hunt with you.
No.
So you never want to steal food from them. They get regular meals. They get taken care of on a regular basis. You want to find them game as often as possible when they're in the field, or they're going to go wild. They're going to go native on you, and they don't really need you. They're
Right.
free flying. So you have to be very careful. There's this balance that you're sort of striking with them, that I want to be there, I want to be close to you, but at the same time, we allow them to do what they're going to do.
Right. And where do they fly? I mean,
Everywhere. Well, each bird has its own type of areas because of the prey that they're chasing. Genetically over eons of time, they've been given these abilities. A falcon being very fast to hunt out in the open and chase other birds. Red-tailed hawks being big and strong. Eagles being big and strong. Each one of them has special skills. And so their territory likes that sort of skill. You try to match the two of them up together the best you can.
and you talk about falconry in schools and at UVA and PVCC. Talk about some of the educational outreach you do.
Many, many years ago, one of the gentlemen that got me started in New York told me that there were a couple of rules that I had to abide by. And one of them you mentioned pet keeping. He said these animals can never be pets. They're just never going to be your pet. And the other thing was that he wanted me to do educational things. He wanted to outreach to especially children to show them these birds up close. But I love doing educational programs. I've done a biology class at PVCC and some things at UVA, and of course elementary schools and high schools all around. And kids think the birds are pretty, and so you have to be very careful about what they chase. So I told this one class that they chased snakes and lizards and bugs and all this, and this little girl raised her hand and she said, well, so I really like your bird. And I said, why? She goes, I don't like snakes. But I didn't say that they chase rabbits, because rabbits are cute, and they're pets a lot of times, so you have to sort of play to your audience.
So knowing that that this is something that requires so much time and so much energy and training, why is it you're so passionate about falconry?
Oh boy, I don't really know. It's just
But you are.
I know I am. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes to the detriment of many other things. But it gets in your blood. I mean, when I saw it that very first time in New York, 50 years ago, that gentleman was a really special guy. Mm-hmm. And for an 8-year-old, when you meet cool adults, you kind of bond with them a little bit. But it just gets into you. There's something about being really close to these beautiful animals. You get to be part of everything that's happening, and get to be right there along with it. And I grew up, my entire life I've spent in the woods in one fashion or another. Now I get to do it with a purpose, and to watch them fly is just spectacular. It's just and I get to live with them. Other people look at them and they say, wow, they're really beautiful, and I live my life with them every day. So it's a lifestyle. It's not just a sport. Right, big girl?
Go food, fruits and vegetables, really good for you. You can eat them in every single meal. And woe foods like this might taste really good, but we know that it's a treat and we should only eat it every now and then.
Whoa.
Okay?
For dessert.
Studies show there is a strong connection between negative health outcomes and food insecurity. In Charlottesville, a local organization is working to change this by educating children and families about affordable and nutritious meals. Join us today as we learn about the PB&J Fund. Come on.
So our cooking tip is to remember what measurements we're using. So which one is the biggest one? Tablespoon. Remember, the table is bigger than the teacup, so the teaspoon is smaller. Okay.
Our mission is to reduce food insecurity and increase access for youth and families in the community to affordable, healthy food.
So talk about food insecurity in Charlottesville, how it affects our community.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in Charlottesville don't realize what a significant problem it is. So we know that 1 in 6 residents in Charlottesville struggle with food insecurity. And for children in the community, over half of students in the city's public schools qualify for free and reduced meals. And so we recognize that decreased access to healthy, affordable food has a myriad of health-related issues. So developmentally and health-wise, it's really problematic for children who struggle with access to food.
Yeah, and often it can be the cause of obesity.
Yes.
If you don't have access to healthy foods and the foods that you have are really not nutritious.
Right. So there's a misconception that people who are hungry and struggle with access to food are skinny, when in fact obesity, as you said, is very commonly linked because people are chasing calories. And what that means is that they're typically eating highly processed foods that are less healthy for them. And so you actually have the outcome of being overweight or obese.
Talk about the programs that you have here that help to address these issues.
Yeah, so we've got a number of different programs. We have what's called Chef Kids, and that's primarily an after-school curriculum-based program for school-age children in the Charlottesville community. And then we have Chef Families, which is really focused on families in the community with young children and is designed to both empower the parent with the knowledge to prepare healthy meals more affordably, but also to figure out ways to really incorporate their young children into the preparation of a meal. And then we have Chef for a Day, which is essentially a field trip model that allows us to reach more broadly into the community and hopefully allows kids who otherwise wouldn't have access to our programs to at least experience the kitchen. And then our last program is Holiday Giving, which is our annual food distribution program in December of each year.
Okay, who wants to be my knife getter?
We've been using cutting tools, wooden tools, measuring tools, and round tools.
I like PB&J because it teaches me how to cook, and if I'm at home, I could cook with my family.
So Chef Kids is working pretty exclusively with third graders and up. We find that's best in terms of skill development and being able to safely handle knives, work with open flames, that kind of thing.
So we can start, since we have the garlic and the ginger, we can start cooking this part while we're waiting for them to do the carrots and the...
So tell me a little bit more about Chef Families. So what goes on in that program?
We have a couple of wonderful community partners, including Ready Kids and Young Lives. And that's really striving to create a full family experience. And so we provide childcare for the youngest children, but we really try to create a kitchen experience that empowers primarily mothers, but we hope occasionally some fathers as well, to do a couple of things. One is to understand how they can shop more affordably and more healthfully in the grocery store, as well as preparing easier, more convenient recipes, and they can actually pull in their older children to help with meal preparation.
Oh, that's really great, and it's fun.
It's fun, and we believe there's a really strong social and emotional benefit to families that are able to prepare and eat meals together.
And your holiday program, tell me a little bit more about that.
So we've done holiday giving for 8 years now. And the basic premise is that we pack and distribute bags of shelf-stable, healthy foods. And this is really intended to help the families of children who qualify for free and reduced meals to bridge that period of time when school is out and we know that they lose access to breakfast and lunch some days.
That really is an issue with families in our community, and children going home for holiday break often don't want to take a break because they know that they're not sure where their meal's going to come from.
That's correct. We know for a fact that some children in our programs or in our partners' programs, if they eat lunch at school on a Friday afternoon, that may be the last meal that they have until breakfast at school the following Monday.
So the organization has been going since 2009. Talk about the results.
We really didn't start teaching classes in a formal way until we had our teaching kitchen here, which was in 2013. But since PB&J started, we've had more than 11,000 students move either through our kitchen space or experience one of our programs on site with a community partner. And so that's a chance to provide a healthy snack or meal for each of those student experiences, but we're also empowering them with culinary skills and nutritional knowledge. And so we think that that's a really lasting tool that kids can take back home with them. And then specific to our holiday giving program, each year we distribute more than 500 bags of shelf-stable food. And that's translated overall into more than 200,000 snack or meal servings. So it's significant.
And you have a very specific philosophy about the meals that you are teaching families and children to make. Talk about that philosophy.
That's right. So first and foremost, it's really important to us to teach really healthy eating habits. And so all of our recipes are nutritionally analyzed by a registered dietitian on our staff. We adhere to the USDA's My Plate philosophy, and we categorize recipes using a go slow and whoa method that basically they're analyzed and then communicated to our participants that if it's a go food, you can eat that as often as you like.
Okay.
And on the other end of the spectrum, if it's a whoa food, we're not telling you that you should never eat it, but we are telling you that it's less healthy and so you should eat it less frequently. It's also really important to us to be able to provide participants with recipes that are affordable. So we usually strive to prepare recipes that will serve a family of 4 for under $10. And then it's also really important for us to just meet our youth and families where they are and understand that people have different notions of what healthy and affordable mean. And within that context for each individual, we try to simply educate and empower so that they can make the healthiest choices for them.
That is such a great philosophy. You work with a lot of partners. You mentioned a few, but talk more about your partnerships in the community because they make a big difference.
Yeah, so we have a unique partnership model where all of our participants actually come to us through an established community partner. Some of our core partners include the Boys and Girls Club, Ready Kids, City of Promise, City Schoolyard Garden, and some other wonderful local nonprofits that are doing work with either youth or family programming.
We made like this healthy shake and a cookie, and that was last year and it was really good.
Eating healthy foods is good for your body and also good for your brain because it helps you get stronger and healthier.
I think the favorite part about PB&J is helping out people and just having fun. Actually, the best part is cooking.
So you must have a special story that you could share. One of those moments where you realize this is really working and this is really good work.
Well, we're very fortunate to have lots of those stories. One in particular comes to mind. We had a group of students from an under-resourced community who were experiencing the sort of full cycle of food coming from the garden into PB&J's kitchen where they were preparing a meal and then sitting down to eat it. And this was an instance where several children in the class had never tasted kale before. And the recipe was a lemony kale salad. And upon their first tasting, the kids loved the kale so much that they were begging us for seconds and thirds. And so that is an instance where for us, we're connecting all the dots and helping kids explore new foods and discover healthier options that they may have.
So what are your goals? What are the goals for the future?
I think our goal is first and foremost to continue doing what we do really well, to make a positive difference in the lives of kids and families and ensure that they're having increased access to affordable, healthy food. Looking forward, we want to think creatively about community partnerships and ways that we continue to reach more families and children. We also want to sort of amplify our advocacy. So we're a member of the Charlottesville Food Justice Network, and we feel like that collaborative of organizations that are doing both unique and complementary work around food insecurity and food justice is a space where we can really help to affect public perception and hopefully change in policy on a local level that ensures more access to healthy food.
That's great. Now, if someone wants to help out in some way, get involved, what are the different ways they can get involved?
We're always looking for volunteers. primarily to serve as a volunteer in one of our cooking classes, and that age range is flexible, so we can take high school students up through seniors. And then I would say two other ways are to really look at our website and learn more about the important work that our community partners are doing and see if there are ways that you can support them. And then also to become knowledgeable about the local food insecurity challenge so that you can help advocate for better outcomes for kids in the community.
That's great work, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you.
We always pause and we say, make sure you thank the chefs, and it takes them a second, usually the first week or two, to realize that it's themselves and it's each other. So throwing them for a loop, but also making them realize that they've accomplished something.
I like cooking a lot. It's my most favorite thing to do in the kitchen. It's fun. It's really fun.
That's it for this week. For WHTJ, I'm Terry Allard. Join us next time on Charlottesville Inside Out.
Charlottesville Inside Out is made possible thanks in part to its patrons, committed to supporting the people, places, and quality of life that uniquely define Charlottesville and its surroundings, and by viewers like you. Thank you.